Since 1969, Childhaven has been lifting children from crisis to hope. On today's episode, we have representatives from Childhaven who are going to be highlighting the foster care program and especially the therapeutic foster care program. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome to the Mayor's Table. I am Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett, and with me today are two guests from Childhaven. I want to welcome Andrea Peña. She is the foster care director for Childhaven. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and back for her second appearance, Jennifer Gray, who is the development director for Childhaven.
That's right. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you all for what you do and for what Childhaven does, and thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to kind of educate the community on what's going on at Childhaven. And I know there's some new things we want to touch on, but let's kind of jump in and talk about Childhaven and what its mission is and the services it provides.
Our mission is lifting children from crisis to hope, and we work with children in the community who may have been abused or neglected, abandoned, and through several programs that we have. And it's just a wonderful program to ensure that children get the healing that they need and the therapies and all the services for the children and the family in our area and throughout the state.
No, it's a very vital component, I think. And as I understand it, there's just a few, I shouldn't say that. How many other child care facilities are there like Childhaven in New Mexico?
There are several, but ours stands out just because we have 5 separate programs.
Okay.
And the others just seem to be like more specific, focused on one specific topic or one specific program.
What are the 5 services that Childhaven provides?
The first service that we provide is the emergency shelter.
Okay.
And a lot of people in the community know about that. Our shelter is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and we accept children ages 0 through 17, and that makes us very unique. A lot of the other shelters have to separate children based on their age.
Okay.
And because we accept such a wide range of ages of children, siblings can stay together. That's really important at a point in their life when they may be experiencing some significant anxiety.
Absolutely. If you got an older sibling in there, you'd want them together with the younger sibling for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that is unique to us.
It is. And we are also the largest children's shelter in the state of New Mexico.
Okay. Mm-hmm. How many beds do we have available, or maybe is rooms a better word?
The number fluctuates right now. It's anywhere between 16 and 32, just depending on some state guidelines and changes. But we can also accept young moms who have a young child too.
Okay.
We have a program where anyone in the community who needs help can give us a call. They may be a parent who is they need some mental health treatment or substance abuse treatment. We have families in the community who are homeless or who are underhoused. Or maybe there's domestic violence in the home. They can give us a call, set up an appointment, and if we have the space, we can bring the children in and we can take care of them completely 100% for free.
It's going to be such a hard moment for a parent to finally come to that, but what a great resource to know that it's here for them.
It is. And we want to let people know, we don't judge anyone. We understand that people are in difficult situations, and we like to think of ourselves as to be able to be there for people and take care of their children while they go and do what they need to do for the future of the family.
Sure.
Whether it's getting some sort of help or treatment, or if it's getting housing. We can take care of the children in the meantime. We don't get any sort of social services involved or anything. The parents can come and visit the children. They can do phone calls. We can also do this. We have a lot of grandparents in the community raising grandchildren. Maybe they need to go in for a surgery or something, or medical care. So we are definitely that resource. And if anybody wants to give us a call, they can just give us a call. It's 505-325-5358, option 1, and they can speak with someone.
And one thing we talked about before coming on here is just to make sure that there's no misconceptions. This is not affiliated with CYFD at all.
That's correct. Correct.
Okay.
We are a separate company. We are a nonprofit. CYFD is part of the state. They are a state program. We do work with them some, but we are a separate entity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the emergency shelter, and how long is that kind of the primary thing that the Childhaven started with?
Yes.
Okay, and I know that's a big part, in partnership with the city as well. I know
Yes.
the Farmington Police Department and those things. But how long has Childhaven been providing that service?
Since 1969.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's right.
That's a long time.
And it was a direct need that was observed by the community. So children were seen wandering streets, or if there were domestic violence situations, the children would stay at the police department. And community members stepped up and said, Farmington's better, San Juan County's better. And that's when Childhaven started. And that continuity of service that's been provided for that amount of time is incredible. So something we're really thankful for.
Yeah. No, much needed. And then you also have the CASA program, CASA.
Yes.
What is that?
That is a volunteer program. It stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate, and I'm actually a CASA volunteer.
Okay.
And I have a family that I advocate for in court. I like to think of it kind of as like the eyes and the ears for the judge. Judges only see certain documents that come to their desk.
Sure.
So before we go to court, I give the judge an update on everything that's been happening in the case through a court report. And then I make recommendations to the judge saying, I think that this child needs a, speech evaluation, or I advocate for the paternal aunt to take custody of the children. It differs for each case. Right now, 100% of the kids in San Juan County are served by a CASA volunteer, those that are in the foster system.
That's great.
And we're at 94% of the recommendations that a CASA advocate makes are accepted by the judge. So we have a tremendous impact on the children's future.
Is there a lot of training involved when somebody decides they want to be a CASA volunteer?
We do have an in-service training program. Depending on your schedule, it can take a couple weeks. We can do that like hybrid, in person and remote, or remote only. After that, we ask you to spend about 10, 12 hours a month on your case. But it also depends on the individual. We have some volunteers who like to go to everything they possibly can, including like parent-teacher meetings and things like that.
Sure.
Others are not able to attend as much because they have work and their own family commitments. So we're pretty flexible on that.
Interesting. So somebody was interested in volunteering for CASA. I know that. I think that was one of our main topics last year when we were talking about that. What would they need to do?
They can go to our website, childhavennm.org/CASA, or they can give us a call, 505-325-5358. And we also have a CASA TV commercial running right now on streaming platforms, so many people may see that too.
Well, I think the website probably has a lot of resources where they can gather some more information on that and see if it'd be a good fit. But certainly talking to somebody in person would be a good way to do that also. It's a big task. It's a big role you're playing in that child's life. So, yeah, well, that's fantastic. So CASA, and then we also have the Advocacy Center.
Right.
So the Children's Advocacy Center and the City of Farmington definitely have a relationship due to the law enforcement piece. So the Children's Advocacy Center is one of many, we would call them CACs, that are nationwide. So we also have New Mexico chapters, and then obviously that goes to national accreditation and things like that. Our Children's Advocacy Center serves both San Juan County and McKinley counties.
Okay.
So if there are reports of abuse and children need to be interviewed and their stories to be told, our trained staff work directly with them and their families to ensure not only that their voice is heard, but that it can be used for the case. And so we have a setup to where there's a separate interview room to the room that the detectives and social workers and other staff members from Childhaven would be, that allow the case really to be captured in we would use the term multidisciplinarian way.
Okay.
So a team-based approach to ensure that this child is cared for and that there are multiple entities involved in ensuring that the case is handled appropriately.
So you said San Juan and McKinley County are serviced by this, but the shelter, is the emergency shelter open up to other places here in the state? Is it a
Yep.
statewide shelter?
Anyone in the state.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And of course, CASA is here locally in our courts, so
Right.
that's...
Right.
Or do we provide that service for kids that are outside of San Juan
We
County?
provide it only for San Juan County,
Okay.
but there is a New Mexico CASA Association, and there are CASA programs in many of the other counties. So we do sometimes get calls from other counties, and we can give them a reference to the county, the CASA program that serves
Okay.
them.
Then we also do foster care. You all oversee that program up here, is that correct? Is there anybody else who does any foster care program up here?
So we are specifically the therapeutic foster
Okay.
care program.
Great.
The other types of foster care in our area would be, we would say, regular foster care. This is directly through the state, so this would be CYFD's program. They would use the term resource parents. And then tribal social services, each tribal social service entity would have their own. So we're mostly working with Navajo Nation social services, but we may work with other tribes as well.
Okay.
But Childhaven's program has been here in the community for 30 years and has been providing this specific service, but we are working on emphasizing the therapeutic model that is used, and it is a programmatic approach to helping children heal. And we're so thankful you're allowing us to come to talk about it
Sure.
today, because there's a huge need, but it's also an opportunity for significant impact on the children's lives.
So what is the difference between, let's say, traditional foster care and therapeutic foster care?
I would say primarily training and support. I think anybody doing foster care, being a CASA volunteer, donating things to services like Childhaven, these are people who care deeply for children in our community. Foster care itself has just different levels of care. The children have different levels of needs. So what we would term regular foster care, these would be more of what you would think of regular community homes who are opening their hearts and their bedrooms to children in need. Those would be more crisis response situations, so getting a call any time of the day or night is a possibility. Obviously, we have the Children's Emergency Shelter,
Sure.
but due to just national initiatives, research-based types of things, children generally do better in home environments, where a crisis shelter is to be just temporary.
Yeah.
So if a child can start in a foster home that has some longevity, that would be more likely to have better outcomes for that child. So that's the regular foster home idea. Now, therapeutic foster care has also been called treatment foster care, but therapeutic foster care is a program-based approach that's evidence-based that allows children to come into our program. They have to have a assessment, so they have to have paperwork from at least a licensed therapist saying they need this type of behavioral health or mental health program.
Okay.
So that means that programs like Childhaven, we're going to provide more training to the foster homes. So this doesn't mean that our foster parents are some elite group, although I will say they are wonderful people.
Sure.
But this doesn't mean that these folks have served for 50 years working as teachers. These are community people who've also opened their hearts, opened their homes, but have been receiving more training through our program. And then I would also say we have the opportunity to provide more support to those homes as well. So we have a staff person on call 24/7 in our program, day or night. If there's a need for support, if there's an emergency, we have to respond, or I should say we get to respond
Yes.
within an hour. And San Juan County is a big county,
It is.
but that just shows the opportunity. If somebody's listening to this, although I know the reach is primarily to Farmington, but they live out in Cedar Hill, they should still call us, because we could still respond within an hour. So yeah, the primary difference I would say lies within that training and support.
And some of the children that qualify for therapeutic foster care, they may have had more placement disruptions in the past. Or they may have some behavioral issues. They may have just some unique cases. Maybe they have some special needs, or they just need some extra support. Those are the children that we really work with in the program. And what we have found in other programs similar to ours have found that when a child has gone through a therapeutic foster care program, they are so much more likely to be successful in their next placement.
Okay.
So they have had the therapy that they need. They have learned about appropriate boundaries. They've learned, sometimes it's just general manners, sometimes it's life skills. And they've really developed confidence in themselves. They've learned about family dynamics, and they've just learned how to coping strategies. When I'm escalated, what's the appropriate thing for me to do? How can I calm myself? And that way, we're always hoping that a child can go back to their family of origin. And a lot of times when the child has gone through the therapeutic foster care program, then when they go to that final placement, they are so much more successful.
I bet they are. And how long do they need to stay in that program?
It's typically a year
Okay.
that they would be in this type of program. And when we're talking about those marked differences and just the perception of what foster care is, and then we're looking at a very specific type of foster care, I really think just honing in on that programmatic approach. So we have a treatment team, is what we call it, a treatment team that includes our staff, treatment coordinators, therapists, CASA volunteers, the foster parents themselves. It could be the biological parents, the child's legal guardian, so that would be often their social worker. So all of these folks come together to talk about that child and the therapy services through Childhaven that the client is enrolled in. So that therapist is speaking on behalf of what coping skills are we working in during therapy, and the foster parent says, oh, we're working on our deep breathing when this happened, and we're documenting that. And our treatment coordinators are meeting with the foster parent, meeting with the children on an individual basis, and we're all checking in, and the social worker has a monthly visit, and the CASA worker has a monthly visit. So that team-based approach allows the child to be seen in multiple places and to be heard. I think that's so important, where we're all meeting with them individually,
Right.
and then coming together to problem solve and to advocate for and to ensure that child is getting care. So that's not to say that the regular foster placements are so much different per se as far as the care and support that those children are getting, but that really is the marked difference I would highlight, is we have a programmatic, robust team aspect on making sure that these children are receiving the care that they need.
Very detailed.
It is
Yeah.
a lot of notes.
So when we look at maybe New Mexico as a whole and the need for foster families, and this is a conversation we have all the time, I mean, how many kids do we have currently right now in the state that are either in foster care or maybe need to be in foster care?
Annually, it's between 3,200 and 3,300.
Wow.
Bernalillo County has the highest number,
Sure.
and Doña Ana County is second, and unfortunately San Juan County is third with the number of children in the foster care system. About half of the children in the system are under age 5.
Wow.
So there's a definite need for foster families.
And kids can stay in foster care until 18, is that correct? Or is it?
That's true.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because I believe we've got a program through San Juan Safe Communities that helps for those who age out of foster care.
We do. It's
to-
a fostering connections program, and it gives them funds, it gives them resources and things once they turn 18 through age 26.
If somebody is interested in being a foster care parent, and I will say this: my parents were foster parents. I think we had 6 kids that they fostered over a 2-year period. Very unique opportunity for my family and for me personally to have had that experience. And it takes special people to really be able to open up their home and their heart to a stranger's child, and not knowing per se exactly everything that child has been through. So that's why I think the therapeutic component of it, you're really trying to address that part of it. And it's not, you're just kind of segmenting them out to say, okay, there are resources here, let's dedicate it to that child so that we can give them the best opportunity available.
Right, and I think that's what makes our program unique, is that, like as Andrea mentioned, the 24/7 support. They can pick up the phone and call us, and even if it's something like, the child's having a little temper tantrum, what should I do? Or if the child needs to go to the emergency room, one of our staff is going there, immediately to meet them. We do have ongoing training sessions too, and I think that gives our families the tools that they need to succeed.
And I would imagine, there must be children that are in this population that have mental health issues, potentially disabilities of some kind, and we're able to address those through the therapeutic program, essentially.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Working with, we schedule the medical appointments, dental appointments, therapy appointments, everything.
Yeah. Is there a greater need for certain kinds of parents versus other kinds of foster parents here in the area?
We need all foster parents.
Sure.
We need regular full-time foster parents. We also need respite foster parents, and those are the parents who are working maybe occasionally, and they're covering for our current foster parents when they need a break or their vacation time. We also need Native American foster families. We understand the importance of having the children, maintaining their own culture, learning about their culture, and preserving traditions.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yep.
Well, that's unique to our area, versus other parts of our state, I think.
Yes. Yep.
Here in McKinley County for sure. As I understand, there's some new marketing and recruitment initiative that's begun. Talk about that.
Well, Jennifer joined the Childhaven team 2 years ago, and she has brought so much energy and
Thank you.
just not only professionalism, but her expertise in marketing. And she mentioned a CASA video that's streaming. We just are so thankful to have Jennifer. So as she's been promoting our programs, foster care was the next one to really look at and help us communicate the need not only for the foster parents, but the impact of this important program. And so,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
We just needed to get that word out there because we don't have enough foster parents. CYFD doesn't have enough. Social services don't have enough. So while we are, of course, promoting our own program, like anybody who would like to foster for anywhere, we would love to have that happen. We are just raising awareness in the community through new marketing collateral, through trifolds, through some print advertising, things like that, and then also through word of mouth. Anyone in the community who has a place where we could speak, we would appreciate that so much, whether it's a social circle or a club, a group, a church. We'd really love to take that opportunity to speak with everyone. Also, there may be people listening who say, well, I could never be a foster parent, but if you think about the people in your circles, I'm sure you can identify at least one person who might be a good fit.
All right.
We have information sessions on the first Thursday of every month at the Childhaven Foster Care Building. That's on 814 West Apache at 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
And people can come. It's a family-friendly environment. They can come in and learn about what it means to be a foster parent. We understand that this is not a decision that people are going to take lightly. You're not going to come to an information session at the end of that session and say, sure, sign me up, I'm going to do it. This is a really big, it's a family change.
It is.
So we encourage people to come, even if you're just kind of thinking about it. Maybe you come and you learn some information, and then, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, you decide that that's the right time for your family to proceed.
It is a big decision.
Yeah.
And I encourage people. I mean, it's really important that they know what they're walking into, not taking it lightly. Get as much information as you possibly can. And I know you all are very realistic about, how these, how the program works, but also what the demand is going to be on them. Because these kids are wide-ranging in age and backgrounds and, things that are going on. And I know the hard thing, from my experience, was you pray that the family, the core family, gets it together, so to speak. You want the kids to be with their parents, but to see them go back and then have to come back into the foster program, just that back and forth is so hard on those children. For the foster program, do you all accept donations like luggage and things of that nature for these kids? Those sorts of things. I imagine you do.
Yeah, luggage is a great one because we do need things for the children to take their belongings to the various placements.
Yeah. We don't want them to use trash bags.
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
Anything specific that your program needs?
We always appreciate when people give us more like pull-ups, those bigger sizes. For a little bit of older toddlers. So our program generally would start serving children about 3 years old. All the way up to 17. So some of those littles, I think it's really kind when people think about the activities that kids would do and families could do. So the Dairy Queen gift cards, those types of, not to give only one brand, I'm just thinking about something realistic. Anything like that the families could do together would be really impactful.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Other donations, I mean, all these things, so let's just say we just released a new marketing program. That requires money.
Right.
Do you all accept monetary donations as well? I imagine
Always.
that's a big portion of what funds the nonprofit.
Yeah. And that always helps us get the word out and, pay for those different marketing initiatives too, because marketing isn't cheap.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And donations can always be brought to the shelter, cash or check. 807 West Apache.
Okay.
Yep.
Within your model, I mean, what other partnerships do you have? I know you have the state of New Mexico as a partner, City of Farmington as a partner, but other social service groups, do you work in conjunction with them as well? I mean, I see a lot of shared missions, obviously, here.
You want to talk about referrals? Or?
Yeah, so my mind went first to, we already mentioned tribal social services, and then we would receive referrals from other community mental health type organizations. We also utilize a lot of different services here in the community. I think about Presbyterian Medical Services, who provide a lot of the dental and medical care. Our clients also go to just other medical facilities around here. You just name it, we've probably utilized it. We're so thankful for all of them. I'm just thinking about the community-based type, like Presbyterian Medical Services. The list goes on and on.
It does.
San Juan County Partnership and...
What about ECHO?
ECHO, yes, certainly. And I was just thinking, as you were sharing your family's story, just the reality that families are facing where the children end up in foster care. And our program, our foster parents really desire for the parents to be healthy and whole. We want them to thrive. We want to do what we can. We want to care for their children while they get better is our goal. And one of our foster parents, I remember them just specifically commenting when they were dropping off a child for a family visit, one of the biological parents went and shook his hand and just thanked him for caring for his child. That's what it's about. And a lot of times people will comment to us that they're afraid to let that child go, to open their heart and their home. But it's such an opportunity to have huge impact. And that's what we have to focus on, and specifically a therapeutic program. This is a program-based model. The children are only in the service for up to a year, maybe 2. Those are more the exception. But we're already entering into this understanding that this is a temporary situation that has lifelong impact. That's
Sure.
what it's about. And so we can list so many services here in our community that we are sincerely thankful for, and we couldn't do the work we do without. Because if they're helping any element of that family heal, then that's what the community is for. That's what we're doing. And we're so fortunate to be able to have this moment in this child's life to provide them nurturing and space and understanding if they have a behavior. Well, we understand why, and we want to work with them through that, so that hopefully if they're reunified or if they're in a different placement, they have a better chance.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's always wonderful going into the foster parents' homes, and you will see some of them have a refrigerator, some of them have a wall that has pictures of all the kids that they've had in their home. And as soon as you talk to them, of course there are tears whenever the child is, after the year time's up, they've graduated from the program, they're going to miss each other.
Yeah.
But just knowing the impact that they have made on those children's lives, like every single one of them you talk to, they would do it again. And some of them keep in contact, especially if they're the children or adults, they'll call them up and say, hey, how are you doing? And, invite them to things like graduation,
Yeah.
big milestones in their
huge.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that connection. To your point, Andrew, just that opportunity to provide stability and love and, a loving home for those kids to understand that maybe where they're from, that's not normal.
Yeah.
This is normality, and we're going to do the best we can to present that to you. And very challenging. I have the utmost respect for everybody who's involved in these programs. They're just incredible people, and so thank you both for the part that you play in developing them and training them and encouraging them to get involved. And for those who are watching or listening, volunteering is a critical component that makes Childhaven work. Donations are critical, and I like the fact places in the community to speak. I would encourage our faith-based community to reach out and bring you all in to a service and just present, because that's what we're taught. We're taught to serve others and to provide that example that's been taught to us. So I would encourage those out there watching this to reach out to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else that we didn't touch on? Want to make sure we...
Well, just thinking about the training process, the application process. So, of course, we have to ensure that we are placing children with safe families.
Oh, yes.
So there are background checks that are required. There are a few things on the background checks that are just an absolute no, but we also want to encourage people. There are some things on the background checks that may come back that are not necessarily a no. Ultimately, the final decision is by the state licensing department,
Okay.
so we do submit that information to them. Do you want to talk about the Safe Home study?
Yes, so our staff are certified with something called Safe Home. So it's a training model that helps us have a certain criteria to make sure that the homes are safe. And we interview the families. If there's currently children in the home or adult children that are outside of the home, we interview them as well. We just really want to get a full picture of who is this potential foster parent, and not only why do they want to do this,
Sure.
but also ensuring that they can and that they're willing to learn about the foster care system as a whole. And so that's a very core element within the licensure process. And then we also do 30 hours of initial training. Now that does sound like a lot, and in a way it is, but it's our way of equipping and providing tools to foster parents and taking those very kind hearts and welcoming people into our program, but making sure that we're giving them the tools for success and getting to know them. They get to know our staff. We're providing that training directly. And then there's some training hours after that initial 30 that they will have to do. So the steps look like applying background checks, some additional paperwork, things like medical appointments. But the training component shouldn't be intimidating, I hope, to folks. I hope it's actually really encouraging to just show there is a support system from the beginning of this process, and that will remain with them through. We use that curriculum throughout their entirety within the program.
Right. And people don't have to have any sort of special background, where they don't have to have a degree. They don't have to have been former teachers or been in the healthcare field. We just ask, for references to make sure that they are, good people and have good hearts. But otherwise, it's just a great program for them to go through. And we do a Nurtured Heart training program as part of their training that really emphasizes the child's strengths. A lot of times we have a tendency to dwell on their weaknesses or things that children have done wrong. And we prefer to focus more and give more attention on the things that they do right and the potential that they have.
I like that mindset. It's so much more rewarding.
Yes.
When you are, thanking them and showing appreciation for the things that they do right, and minimizing the negative things, which they're kids.
Yes.
We've all been kids. We all understand how that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great training method.
And we also will provide that same training to the next placement if they would like. So if we have an adoptive placement, we will offer that training to them for that Nurtured Heart approach, so that there's that continued model for that child and some consistency for them. Again, us doing all that we can to promote positive outcomes for that child and that family.
And our seasoned foster parents are also a great resource on how to deal with certain behaviors. One of my favorite stories, one of our foster parents told us, I'm sure you know who. She was driving in the car and taking the children to an appointment, and they were in the back seat misbehaving. So instead of saying, the typical, I'm going to pull this car over, she actually did pull the car over, and she said she turned off the engine and she got a book out of her center console and she just started reading. And the children kept misbehaving in the back, and she just kept continuing reading and just ignoring the negative behaviors. And then finally one of them said, why aren't we going anywhere? And she said, well, this car doesn't move until people are quiet and, polite and sitting in their seats. So she just continued to read until the children were behaving, and then they were ready to get on their way again. And she said about a week later, one of the boys came to her and said, have you ever read any of that book? And she said, no, don't even know what it's about.
That's very interesting. I can tell you that's not how it worked in my house. So that's a very interesting model.
And I think it's a little bit of a newer model.
Yeah, I would say so. It's the kinder, gentler model.
Yes.
But I think it's important for these kids, what they've been through and the situation that they're in.
Yeah, teaching them a gentler approach.
Yes. Yeah, there is another answer to this. Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, and I mean, from the volunteer aspect of it, if you're willing to put yourself through the rigor of becoming a foster parent, I would think you'd be willing to put yourself through the training and have a kind of a desire to learn and to be equipped with all the tools necessary to be successful in this role. So, yeah, 30 hours, it doesn't seem like it's a lot, actually. 30 hours would be very little.
And we do it in the span of 3 months. So the reason for that is to make sure that it's really impactful, not just taking 1 week and getting as much in. We want to make sure it's integrated. And
well, how many people, I wonder, in that 3-month period drop out?
I don't have that statistic throughout, nationwide or the state. But that is something for us to definitely. We have started tracking. That's part of our new marketing approach. And I also want to highlight treatment and therapeutic foster care, historically known as treatment in the past, is a compensated opportunity.
Oh, okay.
So if people have the available room, sometimes people think they need to have lots of rooms. Do you have a room available for 1 to 2 beds? So that's one thing. It doesn't need to be a huge house. If they have that, if they are willing to learn and to be trained and to be supported, then they should really contact us, because it is that possible to become a therapeutic foster parent. And the compensated portion, it's a paid tax-free opportunity. Did I say that correctly?
You did, yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. With the regular foster care program through CYFD, the foster parents receive a stipend to cover the food, clothing, activities for the child.
Sure.
So our foster parents receive that. They are also contractors for Childhaven, so we pay them a fee on top of that.
Okay.
And that fee is their income for doing the job of being a foster parent. So we have people who are able to work from home and earn a nice income that, allows them to live very, very comfortably.
Good to know.
And I think
I remember the stipends, and I remember the food drives that we had when my parents were foster parents. But
Yeah.
this is an added benefit to that component, which.
And
yeah.
I think from the very beginning of this conversation, what is the difference? It's training and support.
Mhm.
And so these foster parents absolutely deserve being paid for the work that they put into this. They are going to extra trainings. They are transporting children to multiple types of services, whether that's the medical, dental, school, therapy, and that therapeutic aspect. That's why the kids are in the program. So the foster parents are required to take them every week to a therapy appointment, family visits, even if it's just taking them to the family visit. They're not involved in those family visits. So all of those pieces, it's so important for us to celebrate the fact that programs like Childhaven are able to provide this compensation for families because they're doing really hard work, and we just want to keep spreading the word about that. So contact us, call us, go to our website, follow us on social media. There's always a need for more foster parents in San Juan County, but truly right now it is a critical time. We need more homes right now.
I got the message. I like it. Very poignant, and I love it. So I hope that reaches some of these family members here in our community and opens up their heart and mind to the possibility. For sure.
We do too.
Yeah. Anything else?
I guess just, as a former foster child myself, I'm really hoping that people, hear the message here today and are willing to open up their homes to take care of these precious children.
Me too. I told a story before we came on about a military veteran who moved his family here, and this community opened up their hearts to him and really embraced him, and that's the kind of community that we are. So I can see this being impactful and people understanding exactly what the need is and stepping up. So that is the call to action today. To step up. All right. Well, Andrea, Jennifer, thank you both for being here. You want to share any other bits of information? We've mentioned the website, the phone number, the location for donations.
And honestly, people just stop by. We have a big foster care sign right at our 814 location, 814 West Apache in Farmington. We love when people just come by and say, "Oh, I saw the sign and wanted to get more information."
Yep.
Come see us, come talk to us. We mentioned the information sessions, but honestly, we will talk to anyone, really anytime.
First Thursday of the month at 5:30 p.m.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both again for all you do, and for your board members, the foundation, and your staff, and all the volunteers that really make this program successful. And our prayers are for those kids and for the families that have stepped up, that they continue to be successful and enriched by this experience. It's life-changing, for sure.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, thank you all for tuning in today. We hope your summer has started off great here in the Four Corners. We look forward to seeing you here next time on the Mayor's Table.